Can I have a big hello from you? Showing that you're alive. Day 4 of the EU's first ever Blockathon. And ladies and gentlemen, may I proudly present, and I really mean that, my co-moderator, the entrepreneur and the inventor of Dutch chain, and the co-creator, and a lot of these things are about the co-creator of this Blockathon, Rutger van Zuidam. Rutger.
Thank you, Connie.
Now, my only claim to fame is that for several showers and for 4 days, I've been wearing this badge. You've been here all the time.
Yeah.
You've seen 48 hours of slavery of 11 teams over diverse laptops, over their ideas, ideals, creations. How was it?
Well, I think it's good that you mentioned showering, because luckily everybody kept doing that, although they were working throughout the night. Who here pulled the all-nighter? Whew! I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I always like it when that happens. I think.
For those of them that are actually listening and watching us on the interweb, on the internet, we're calling
interweb
it the interweb.
Is cool, Connie.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool.
It's cool.
It's culture.
So I would say that was the majority of them, and just for once, we don't have smell interweb yet.
Okay, yeah.
So all is fine.
So, and I think what was also really cool is that when you create like a little village where people gather with 18 nationalities, not just the teams, but also all the experts that come here and basically give their time. They donate their time and their expertise and their knowledge to the teams that want to use it. And it can only happen if the teams are open for that, but it can also only happen when these experts take the effort to join us. So I want to ask two of these experts what they actually...
Representing all of them, and thank you very much. And can we have a quick applause for those experts that were there, that spent the weekend, not at home with their families, but spent the weekend here in Brussels at Motor World at the Hackathon. Can we just have a quick round of applause, and then you go and address the one person that you want to ask.
So, where is Luc Boortman from GS1? Yeah, so how awesome it is if you're in supply chain and you're working on anti-counterfeiting solutions, that you can basically interact with the organization that kind of invented the barcode, right? So, Luc, please.
So you're the guy that makes shopping easier. Thank you very much.
So Luc, what did you notice this weekend? What was the most noticeable thing you experienced this weekend?
Oh, I must say that the possibility to interact with all the teams and the interest from all the teams into the standards, GS1 standards, but standards in a whole, was something I really noticed in the last 2 days.
That's important?
That is very important, I think. Standards are there to make life easier and to come to solutions quicker than without standards.
Great, thank you.
And I've been told Kirsten Meyer is still here. He is from KLM Cargo. Could you please raise your hand? And I'm going to come towards you and say, well, first of all, thanks very much for co-creating. KLM Cargo indicates that you've got something to do with the logistics chain. What was the interaction with the teams?
I thought it was fantastic, and one thing that I really liked was that the tables are so close together. So at one point you are competitors, and at the other hand you are also co-creators. So competing and co-creating, I think that's fantastic. The second thing I really liked was the Commission and EUIPO. Your commitment to this event was fantastic. The only problem I now have, there are so many questions still to answer. I came as an expert, but I leave as a newbie.
Wow, that sounds great. And actually, I think that's something in the spirit of what you wanted to create. I remember that you said, Rutger, at the beginning, we need the beginner's mind, the open mind, the newbie mind.
Yep.
So did you find that?
absolutely, because from what I've seen here happening, so if we look at unexpected discoveries or pivots, who of the teams made quite a significant pivot in their approach since they came here and entered the competition? Yeah, I see a couple of hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, out there
that's
on
very
the
good.
screens,
So,
only a few arms
that's
went
nice.
up hesitantly.
I think it's for me it is all about the unexpected discoveries, and I think that some of the teams, no, all of the teams did some discoveries which at least I did not expect. I hope the teams have the same thing, and we will definitely see that later on the stage today.
Great. Now let's have a quick look at what you can expect of today. Of course, everyone wants to know who the winner is. That's, of course, going to happen a little bit later. So now we're going to have very soon the two final teams that are sort of competing about who's going to win. But as Rutger told me, everybody's already won for having been here. So that's the basic assumption. We will introduce the grand jury to you. The grand jury will come up on stage in a moment, and then at one point they need to deliberate, of course, which gives all of us a chance for a coffee break. And then we are going to get back together, and at 11:15 we have the great honor of actually having the European Commission Vice President for the digital market here with us, Mr. Ansip, who's going to be there, and he's also going to hand over the award to the finalists and to the winner finalist. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, there is a point at which we can all say, been there, done that, got the cookie, go away with many more questions than we came, and we'll have a farewell cocktail. However...
Just a small thing, Connie. So there's so much happening today, right? So all the challenge runners-up and winners, all the presentation of the finalists. That let's have it straight. So the awarding it will be done right with Christian Archambeau and Mr. Christian Peugeot.
Before that, you need to explain to us how have you set it up originally?
Yeah.
So there was already some decisions were already taken yesterday, which were?
Well, of course, yesterday we had the pleasure of the challenge jury members to assess all the 11 teams. And I think the elegant part of this is that you get the perspectives from a different point of view, right? From the consumer point of view, the logistics operator point of view, as well as the customs point of view. And these assessments are already made. So and yeah, then and the jury also deliberated.
And those people are going to get an award. I mean, the ones who are winning get an award in the second part of the trilogy. No, in the second part of our event today, and that will be after 11:15. Yeah. But now, you were saying correctly that we want to have the grand jury up on stage, but we want to start, and he already got sort of, let me say, some verbal flowers, like saying the event was great. And I'd like Christian Archambeau to come up on stage, Deputy Executive Director of EUIPO. Could you please come here? And not only are you co-creator, co-founder, co-thinker, co-supporter of this event, but you're also, let's say, primus inter pares, the first one in the grand jury. Christian, you've been away. I'm very sure that you've checked the Twitter accounts.
I did.
So, what are your expectations of today?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank everybody that has made this possible. It's not finished yet, but you know, there's been a tremendous job by all the teams. Also, a special thank to the staff of EUIPO that's made this possible, and the Commission for the sponsorship. To all the teams for being here, and I hope that we end up with a very good result.
Great.
What I expect hopefully disruption, because like we said in the opening event on Friday, Lowri Evans said that we are very good at incremental change, but we need disruption here. So I'm looking for something wild, new. but also, and maybe more importantly, something that we can take forward. So this event is not an end in itself, it's the beginning of something. And for me, that's the most important part, is how we are going to take this forward.
I actually heard, when I was walking around earlier today, I heard 2 or 3 people saying, you know, we've got to do that a bit more in Brussels. So your sentiment is already mirrored. Now, for the other 3 wonderful members of the grand jury, I think, Rutger, you are introducing number 1.
Yes. So it's a real pleasure to have you here, Vinay. Vinay Gupta is one of those people that goes down the rabbit hole deeper than anyone else, then comes up and is able to explain what the heck is happening there, so you can feel a bit more comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinay Gupta, founder of Materium. And if we talk about the Internet of Agreements, yeah, I mean, that's something that is applicable here as well. The initiator of agreements, that's also nice.
Wonderful.
I mean, yeah, that's the start of collaboration there, right there. So, Vinay, what will you be looking for today? Are you mic'd? No.
No.
I will hold it.
So, I mean, basically, the fundamental question here is, will it work, right? You know, there are lots of kind of complicated theoretical approaches to these kind of problems, but at the end of the day, everything to do with logistics and supply chains is about getting, you know, hundreds of thousands of separate entities scattered across dozens of countries to do the same thing at the same time in the same way well enough to get your systems to actually stand up. And we've only got a handful of global systems that work that way. Visa, SWIFT, the internet, you know, the GS1 barcoding systems. There are a few other examples. But if we're going to get systemic transformation on things like track and trace, you need that to be a kind of global multi-party cooperation. So I'm looking for things which are technically straightforward enough to imagine getting that kind of systemic transformation with the right set of aligned incentives to make it workable. How do you get each individual actor to upgrade their technology and flip over the bits one at a time until you get enough people doing it that everybody else has to follow? It's an adoption problem.
That's about movement right there.
I'd like to introduce Paulo Santos, Director of Digital Delivery of Customs and Taxation Policies, DG Tax. Woo. Woo. So, lots of work to do today, and again, a similar question. If at 12:45 we finish, what expectations will have been met?
Well, good morning. Personally, I work for DG Taxud at the Commission, and as you may know, our business is actually in customs and taxation, both of them. So I would be expecting today that we can come out with some sort of prototype that allows a leap forward in either fighting against counterfeiting or allowing us to reduce fraud, or both if possible. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Great, thank you very much. And your role is very much appreciated.
Right. So the 4th member of the grand jury panel is all the way from Seattle. Great to have you here, Charles Wright from
Woo!
Amazon. So Charles, I mean, as one of the largest retailers on the planet, you clearly have an interest in the genuine part of this. So can you tell me what you are looking for here today?
First of all, thank you very much for having us. We're very honored to be here. Vinay took the words out of my mouth. We're looking for something that's both inspirational but practical. We deal with hundreds of fulfillment centers around the globe with billions of packages that we're moving every year. And so we have to have something that works and works well and works efficiently. I love to see disruption, but we want to make sure we're not too disruptive of the legitimate supply chain as well.
Perfect.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Now, these gentlemen and you, ladies and gentlemen, are looking forward to the following rundown. We're going to have 2 teams, one after the other, which are going to be announced by Monsieur Archambeau. And the procedure is the same. The team will present for 10 minutes their solution. then our wonderful grand jury will grill them about the results, and then you get into a dialogue and say, I didn't quite understand what you meant by X, Y, and Z. So we have enough time for both conversation with everybody here in the room, with the grand jury, and of course, with everybody who's going to present. And we don't know yet, but Christian knows. So,
I don't,
seeing that
actually.
he's in the know,
I've got the
all of us
envelopes.
leave
Yes.
the stage. You're coming back later on. And Christian, we would love to see who is finalist number 1.
So,
Yes.
finalist number 1, Fides.
It's okay.